Welcome back, everybody, to another shiur, another day. Today's Monday, Baruch Hashem. So yesterday we were talking about continuation of the explanation on how the two descriptions that the Rambam has on Yemos HaMoshiach, the one in the Peirush HaMishnah and the one in the Hilchos HaMishnayos. So we said how the Rebbe explains how there's the union of Zachu and Loi Zachu. So we can have the laws, the halachos in the Rambam is essentially the bare minimum, that both in a situation of Zachu and Loi Zachu, whatever it is, regardless, this is the bare minimum. This is how it has to be at some point. We're going to basically cover our bases, as they say. That's halacha. But in Peirush HaMishnah, the Rambam goes and describes a more, a greater Mashiach and the more miraculous Mashiach and so on and so forth. So the Rebbe explains that how it works together is the situation of Zachu and Loi Zachu. Zachu is in Rana Shemaya and Loi Zachu is in a massive of poor person that comes and rides on a donkey. Says, well, the Rebbe says that if we're a massive of Zachu, so go straight into the miraculous Mashiach. If we're a matzav of chas v'shalom Loi Zachu, so then we have the regular, natural progression of Mashiach, which is the way it lays out in the Rambam. And then you have the Rebbe says in the Sikha, but the Rebbe explains over there that at some point we're going to get to the matzav of Zachu because I'm going to tshuva and all these things. So at some point we're going to reach the matzav of Yemos HaMoshiach and the miraculous Yemos HaMoshiach. So we go on and he says that to add his beer. So let me could possibly say there's two ways of fulfilling mitzvahs. There's the limited with boundaries and measured way of fulfilling mitzvahs, and that is the way it's the halacha. According to halacha, you have boundaries, and there's a way to do this. There's a way to fulfill the mitzvah, and then you have the level. Now it's a higher level. Fulfilling the mitzvahs. The midas chassidishe. Midas chassidishe is basically to go even further, step further, and go even deeper. And the Eibusher doesn't request from us only something that we're able to achieve. So so the first way of fulfilling mitzvahs, which is measured and limited according to halacha, very basic halacha, a person is able to, in his limited capacity, because at some point we're limited to nature. So that's the way to fulfill the mitzvahs. That's the simple way, easy way. But is the way to fulfill the mitzvahs. In the second way, which is a higher level, you need help. You need a godly help that will bring you to a matzav that will remove you from the laws of nature. And that's what the Rebbe is. That's what this is. This wants to bring you to that matzav. So similarly, with regards to the completion, the perfection of the mitzvahs in Yemos HaMoshiach. To fulfill the mitzvah in the minimalistic way that is obligated, that is in halacha. Okay, so you don't need miracles that Mashiach will bring. And it's enough that the world is just going in its regular way, because it's not something that needs to be, miraculous and otherworldly. So in this vein, the Rambam explains, the Rambam describes Yemos HaMoshiach. That's how it describes in the halacha sefer. So really, in truth, the truth of the Yemos HaMoshiach, so it will be even greater than the obligatory way. It's going to be a completion that is connected to the godly assistance. And that fits with the Rambam's explanation in Peirush HaMishnah. When we get to Perek Gimel, we'll explain it in detail. So now, so in these things, going back to the greatness of Mashiach over David and Shloimeh, and the miraculous leadership that will be through Mashiach. It fits with the definition that of Pnimis HaTorah, of what is the fundamental point of Mashiach, is that Mashiach is the level of Yechida HaKlalis, the general Yechida. So let's explain. What's the point? The rabbis say that Chamisha Shemes Nikrola is 5 names given to it. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, Chaya, Yechida. The Chassidishe explains, these are the 5 levels in the soul of a person. And accordingly, so if you have 5 levels in your soul, so you have 5 ways, 5 paths to connect to Hashem. Each one higher than the other. Now for us, the aspect of nefesh is the practical action of a person. So what is the connection to Hashem? Is in fulfilling the mitzvahs in action on the foundation of accepting the yoke of Malchus the heavenly kingship. So from this perspective, according to the halachic obligation, it's enough for the person to fulfill the mitzvahs. That is measured and limited, which is in accordance with the limits of nature. He doesn't have to do more than that. So now we reach the level of Yechida. It's the highest and most innermost level of your neshama, of your soul. Which is the essence of the soul. And this level, it stands with inner devotion that is complete and intellectually eternal with Hashem. It basically reaches the depths of the depths. There's only one will, and that is to unify with the unification of the world. So from this perspective, so you have to fulfill the mitzvahs specifically in a way of chassidishe, which is without regard for the limits of nature. Fine, so he explains further. It's explained further. Just like every single soul has this concept of the 5 levels, and each one has a special connection to Hashem. Similarly, with the general soul of the nation of Israel, the Yidden. We have similarly the 5 levels, each one on top of each other. And David is the inner soul, the nefesh haklal is the general nefesh of the Yidden. And Mashiach is the level of Yechida haklalis. And therefore, so similar to the exaltedness of the level of Yechida over the level of nefesh. So same thing. Same thing is the exaltedness of Mashiach over David and Shloimeh. Okay, right? And just like the exaltedness of the levels of Yechida over Dakei HaTeva. So too Mashiach is higher than the general ways of nature. We'll explain further in Perek Aleph. So now we explain beautifully, according to the Rambam, the days of Mashiach, the way it's explained in Halacha, Hilchos Shuvah, Hilchos HaMoshiach, and the way Yemos HaMoshiach is described in the Peirush HaMishnah and in the Seiman, trying to fit it all together. Now we'll briefly talk about the opinion of the Ramban, that basically the way we can bring it out from a bunch of places. Magnetism as a Mashiach, if Azar Yarusha, Koidem Eitz HaDaas. That the Ramban, defines Yemos HaMoshiach as a return to the days before the sin of Eitz HaDaas. There was a world where there was no evil, there was no death, and there was no sin. According to the Ramban, there was no death in the world before Eitz HaDaas. They were all in peace together. Only after the sin was there death to a person. And the animals were they had permission for the blood of from then it became natural for predators and prey, for them to attack each other and hunt each other. Being that in Yemos HaMoshiach will be fixed. We will fix the sin of Adam Arishain, so there will be no death in the world. And the Yidden will merit everlasting life in this physical world. And the pasuk of that the wolf will lie with the lamb will be literal. The Rambam continues and writes, before the sin, a person naturally did whatever was good for him, like when the heavens and all its ministers were created. They were faithful creatures. Everything they did was true. And their purpose did not change. There was no love or hate. It was just, this is what we're doing. We're fulfilling the Ratzon of Hashem. Well, the Ramban continues and he explains the concept of Eitz HaDaas Tov Ra. What is the tree of knowledge? Bein Tov L'Ra. This tree, the fruit of this tree, gave birth to the will and the desire. That those who ate will choose, will basically be forced to make a choice, whether it's good or whether it's bad for you. Before there was no real choice. It was, I'm doing this. This is all I'm doing. I only did things that were good for me. But now, once you eat from the Eitz HaDaas, it causes you to make a choice. And because you can make a choice, it's possible to choose something that not necessarily is good for you. That when we're talking about das, the knowledge, we're talking about not knowledge in our minds and intellectual, rather the concept of will and desire. And in similar vein, the Rambam continues and writes about the future time. Once the sin is rectified. In the days of Mashiach, the choice of good will be natural. He will, the heart will not desire after things that is not good for him, and will not have a craving for it at all. And the person will return at that time to the nature that he had before the Mauritian sin. That he did naturally what was good for him. He didn't want anything else. Only thing that he needed. And in this vein, he explains the words of Moshe Rabbeinu. What is this that Hashem is going to give? This is going to remove from your hearts. The Ramban explains because the lust and desire is as a foreskin to the heart. What's the circumcision is removing the concept of desire and craving. The Ramban was a Kabbalist. And from the Ramban came all the other Balei Kabbalah, the Arizal, and also all the Chabad Rebbe, all of them came after. That they strengthened in the opinion of the Ramban, they strengthened it that In the future, there will be chayim nitzchim, literal everlasting life. Because even kevin kipshutai, and the concept of the wolf lying with the lamb will be kipshutai, will be literal, will be delayed. Kipshutai, and there will be a literal nullification of the Yitzhak. Over there is a chassidishe, and in the Torah of chassidishe, they added because they're going to now to the principle that we said before, Geulah and Moshiach, to the revelation of the Yechida when Mashiach comes. Because when we're talking about the Yechida, a person draws down an everlasting life without stopping. And mitzvah the Yechida, there's no existence to it. There's no choice. There's no place for choice between good and evil. If you stick around until Perek Aleph, which we're not going to do now, but at some point we'll get there, we'll explain more. So according to, in the way of the Rebbe, which is trying to, he's approaching the Torah as one Torah. So we have to find a way to approach the words of the Ramban and the words of the Rambam that they're not arguing with each other. We can seemingly equate the words of the Ramban that we're saying over here to the words of the Rambam in Peirush HaMishnah and in the letter of Igaz Teiman. Sham. The Rambam himself is describing the ability, the potential for Yemos HaMoshiach to be miraculous and for the concept of a wolf lying with a lamb to be possible. And just like we explained before that the words of the Rambam, he's describing Yemos HaMoshiach in its purity, in a level, in a matter of Zachu, the situation where we're meritorious. We can seemingly explain similarly to the opinion of the Ramban that we're talking about the matter of Zachu. So we have a problem. What's the problem? The problem is that even according to the Rambam in Peirush HaMishnah, with regards to death, there's still something wrong. There's still a disagreement. And similarly, if we can go even further, we can try to figure out. We have to really figure out if the Rambam will agree with the Ramban with regards to choice. Again, if you stick around the Perek Beis, we'll try to explain even more. In Yosef, a very clear disagreement between the Rambam and the Ramban is what does Olam HaBah as it is a reward for the mitzvahs that the Yidden do, that Chazal teach. What does it mean? What is Olam HaBah? So they have a clear disagreement. According to the Rambam, it's the world of souls that comes to a person after he dies. That the souls are sitting without a body, and they benefit from the Zibashchina. They're understanding the greatness of the Creator. So that's the Rambam. Ramban, this that the Rambam is describing is Gan Eden. Beautiful. Chazal talk about it. But when we're talking about Olam HaBah, they're talking about the situation is going to be after Yemos HaMoshiach, and after all the resurrection of the dead. Then the Yidden will be souls in a physical body in this physical world. They will not be working at all. They will not be dealing with at all physicality. Only with understanding Hashem. So that they are in agreement that what's going to be in Olam HaBah is only dealing with knowing Hashem, but in the massive, what's going to be is the disagreement. We all agree, like the Ramban. Even this, the Rebbe tries to show you how it's possible that there could be an agreement between the Rambam and the Ramban, between their opinions. We'll explain further on. So that's enough for today. For this week, as the shiurim will be pre-recorded, as I am subbing class, so I won't be available at 2:30. So Mitzvah Shem, obviously join. And it's going to be consistent at 2:30 every single day, Sunday through Friday, not including Shabbos for obvious reasons. And next week, Mitzvah Shem, because we obviously have Yom Tov of Shavuos, we won't be having a shiur on the Yom Tov of Shavuos. Thank you very much, everybody. Subscribe, like the video, comment if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, obviously. And most importantly, to hit the notification so you get notification every time we go live, or for this week when we post the video, the premiere. And also, I forgot, if you want to sponsor shiur, more than welcome to reach out to me, levipolichenko@gmail.com, or anyway, everybody, thank you for coming, and everybody should have a blessed day. Most importantly, we should have the Geulah and Moshiach immediately. Yechida Melachim Melachim HaMishnayos.